Check, check, check,
Yes.
check, check.
He's in here. Okay.
Check, check, check. If I have to go front mic, I will. Like you're getting it right now. Because the mic's in my hand.
Everybody good? Everybody sound check? Everything? Okay. All right, we're going to get started. Good morning to everyone. We are gathered here this morning for a very, very serious matter as Birmingham's greatest asset is under risk to be actually taken in control by the state. Recently, there has been legislation filed in the Alabama Senate that would radically reshape Birmingham Water Works from an organization that accurately is represented by the customers it serves to some organization that is controlled largely by people hundreds of miles away with no interest in Jefferson County. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to a few of the people who have stood in support of making sure that this bill does not go through, to ensure that the citizens of this county have a voice in the Birmingham Water Works Board. So, without further ado, Hunter Williams.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Hunter Williams. I serve on the Birmingham City Council. I represent District 2 for the City of Birmingham, but I come today not only as a representative of the City of Birmingham, but also a business owner in Jefferson County. You know, we've spent the last 2 weeks in Montgomery talking to legislators about Senate Bill 330, its implications on what it has locally to this system, also implications what it has from a statewide perspective, and the precedent that it sets, but implications that go further than that, national implications about takeover of local boards, local agencies like water, utility districts, gas districts, electrical cooperatives, and so many other things that municipalities put in place for its citizens and ratepayers. You know, when I grew up, I kind of got taught that, you know, the Democratic Party is a party that sees issues and tries to solve those issues with different types of government intervention. And the Republican Party was a party that saw the issues but thought that from a solving standpoint that it is better done on a local level, whether that be the state, if we're talking about the federal government, or even a more localized level, whether it be a school board, if it's education, or a local utility water board like we're talking about today. This kind of goes in the face of everything that I understood our parties were advocating for. When we talk about economic development in Jefferson County, it is so important to realize the implications that this will have going forward. The ace in the hole that we have in economic development in Birmingham and Jefferson County is that when new industry wants to come to our community, to our county, to central Alabama, we are able to supply them with one of the greatest needs that they have, and that is organized utilities so that they can come and plant their operations here in our backyard. What this does is it puts control in Montgomery, where we do not want them deciding what economic development and what decisions can be made over 150 miles away in Montgomery. It creates conflicts of interest because not only can elected people appoint themselves or other elected people, and it doubles the salary of the board, which is completely unacceptable to ratepayers, but it also allows people that might have other interests than development in Birmingham and Jefferson County to stipend that, to hold that back, so that they can have that development potentially in their own backyard, in an area where they have ties and they represent. It also goes to show that, look, we're not the only organization that can be taken over by the state, restructured the board by the state so that it can serve state interest instead of local interest. These are the local interests that built this utility. The city of Birmingham, without a doubt, built this utility and expanded it as other municipalities asked to come on board because they did not have the financial wherewithal to create their own water system. Now, we know that there has been issues with this utility in years past, but we are very proud of this current board and everything that they have done to overcome the issues that are at hand. And they've done an amazing job, and I'm very excited to see the progress that they have made. You know, when we talk about larger intervention, it's only typically because of insolvency or non-potable drinking water. You know, we saw that in Flint, Michigan. We've seen that in other areas, and maybe it is appropriate for a state takeover or a larger takeover or assistance from the federal government at that time. But when you have some of the cleanest drinking water in the United States, and you have a utility that is solvent, that is doing well, that has restructured debt in a positive way to save the ratepayers millions of dollars a year, you have a very well-performing utility. It's become somewhat of a grab in Montgomery. And it sets a precedent, not only in the state of Alabama, that this could happen in any different municipality, district, gas district, water board, whatever, but it also brings the question is this constitutional? Should this be happening on a national level? Should national capitals in all 50 states be able to take something that is performing well, that is serving its citizens, so that that local jurisdiction, that local municipality cannot do what it needs to do for economic development? You know, like I said, I grew up, you know, learning about the differences between Republicans and Democrats when it comes to these types of principles. And one thing that I really can relate to and really understand as a business owner is the efficiencies of private and local government. It's local government that understands the needs of its people. They're closest to the people. But every time you get bigger, every time you get out a level outside of that bubble, inefficiencies come up, different type of political actions come up that are not in the best interest for those local people. And my biggest concern is that we have seen state Republicans get away from what the Republican Party has traditionally stood for in the state of Alabama. And I hope that that precedent does not follow on a national level, because the Republican Party believes in local control. The Republican Party believes that the best way to solve issues is have those involved in the issues solve it. So while we are sitting here today, or standing here with all of the great men and women that serve on both the board as well as work for this utility and work every day to make sure that we have some of the cleanest water in the United States, make sure that we are a well-run and solvent organization, we are addressed with this aggressive Senate Bill 330 that changes the control out of local hands, like the people that you see here today, and puts it down in Montgomery, our state capital, where we all know is abound with inefficiencies and unacceptable behavior that we do not want to see here controlling this board. I'll turn it over to our general manager, Mac Underwood.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Mac Underwood. I'm the general manager of the Birmingham Water Works. The Birmingham Water Works and the executive management team vehemently oppose Senate Bill 330. It's based on untruth and, just general tactics where they are not providing factual information. 92% of the customers are in Jefferson County. This new bill and a new board would mean that more than 50% of the appointments on the board would come from outside of Jefferson County. The other thing I want to say is that we have a good system. The system has a number of capital projects ongoing right now. We have an improvement to Lake Pretty Dam, which is $80 million. We're working on automated meter reading infrastructure. Those projects are underway, but this bill threatens to stop or delay those projects. We're in the process of doing a $200 million bond issue that if this bill is passed, we believe it will slow down that process, and some of those projects will be halted. And if we have to halt those projects, we will end up, the cost will probably end up increasing, and that's part of the reason that we oppose this bill. Also, this board is doing a good job. We are addressing customer concerns. We put on a new AGM of customer care. We're going to put on a new deputy general manager. All of those people are going to be focused on serving the customers. So from that standpoint, we are addressing customer concerns. One of the things they indicated in Montgomery was that this bill actually is going to, they were concerned about Flint, Michigan, and Jackson, Mississippi. Birmingham Water Works meets and exceeds all federal regulations related to water quality. We have done that for years. Our consumer confidence report actually shows that, and we actually meet and exceed all of those federal regulations. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our chairwoman, Chairwoman Huffman.
Good morning. My name is Teresia Huffman, and I have the pleasure of serving as chair of the Birmingham Water Works Board, appointed by the City of Birmingham Council. Birmingham Water Works Board appoints includes 2 by the Mayor, Randall Woodfin, 4 by Birmingham City Council, 1 by Jefferson County Mayors Association, 1 by Shelby County, and 1 by Blount County. At the present time, 77.78% of the board of directors are appointed by the City of Birmingham and Jefferson County, which is more far accurate a representation of the water customers served by BWWB. Unfortunately, SB 330 would take this accurate makeup of the board and instead replace it with one that gives an equal vote to the City of Birmingham. Birmingham City Council, Governor, the Lieutenant Governor, and Jefferson County's Chair, Shelby, and St. Clair counties effectively silencing the majority of Birmingham Water Works customers. We cannot allow this to happen. This new makeup would instead place outside power in the hands of those who represent only 1/10 of the people we serve and hundreds of legislators miles away. Not only that, but this bill starts a dangerous precedent of legislators in the Capitol policing local matters in which they have no real skin in the game. So I pose to you this question. If this bill is passed as submitted, what is to stop legislators from North Alabama or South Alabama from enacting legislation that drastically impacts only Central Alabama without their input? That is all I have to say.
At this time, we're going to open this up for any questions from the media. The people that have spoken will be the only people that are going to be answering questions.
It's you, Chairwoman.
Anybody have any questions?
Okay, there's one thing that I would like to add. Yesterday in Montgomery, what we continue to hear legislators say are 2 things: misinformation. This current board makes up of 9 members that represent our customer base. We are qualified to serve this board. We are all college educated and bring experience to this board in our own ways. I keep hearing legislators say we want to bring competent, qualified people. Well, the question that I have for you is, the way that this current board is set up, and we are all qualified in our own ways, what qualifications are you saying that are lacking from this board?
I think that there's one more thing that is important to add, because I know that people will see this story beyond those of the customer base of Birmingham Water Works Board. And that is, the water that this board delivers to its customers not only meets but exceeds the EPA standards. I think a lot of people, if they look at what their local board is providing them to their residents, to their business, they will be surprised to find that they might not be meeting those EPA standards when it comes to what water is being shipped to their house for their family to consume. And the fact that this board is able to provide some of the best quality water in the country and in the state of Alabama speaks volumes to the success they're having in the delivery of their mission, which is very simple: clean, safe drinking water to all of the ratepayers at the best available cost. And I think that the public should try to look and see what they are actually being served if they're served outside of the Birmingham Water Works Board. Because you might be a little surprised what's actually in your water, which is why I'm so proud to have these guys serving my residents, my business, and I drink the water straight out of the tap every day, all day long.
I would like to add something too. I mean, a lot of the information that they are putting out is just not factual. They reported in Montgomery that 25% of the customers within the city of Birmingham. You look at our stats, 44% of the customers are in Birmingham. When you look at the other 26 to 30 municipalities we serve, it's more like 75% within municipalities and only a small percent in Jefferson County. The other thing they keep saying is, well, we need to make sure that we prevent Birmingham from being a Jackson, Mississippi, or Flint, Michigan. Birmingham Water Works has always provided quality water. We always make sure that we are improving the system. Just in the last 5 years, we've spent $142 million on improving pipelines and relaying pipelines. We've also spent $178 million in the last 5 years just on improving the filter plants. So we are a system that invests back into the system. We're making sure that this system is available for generations to come, not just this generation. The last thing I'll say that they keep saying is that they need to appoint a board to help prevent corruption. If you think about it, over the last 10 to 15 years, my question is, where were they when Jefferson County had its sewer debacle, filed bankruptcy, had the largest bankruptcy in the history at that time? So where were they when that sewer incident occurred? Where were they when Jefferson County, the other thing, they had another issue with some bonds. The bond issues were not done properly. It cost the county a lot of money at that time. And again, a lot of people went to jail. So we've had a few issues here, but they are nothing like the issues that the county had over the years. So my question to the legislators would be, where were they when all of these incidents was going on at the county regarding the sewer issues and the bond issues and people going to jail?
And I will end with this. This current board, this 9-member board, has made the tough decisions. We have listened to our customers. We understand that we have a history of not performing the way the customers needed us to. We came in, we made the tough decisions. We brought in a leadership team who is competent and who listens to the concerns of our customers. And now we need our customers to reach out to your local legislators and tell them to oppose SB 330. We need our local legislators, those in Jefferson County, to stand up with us, put your name in your face with us, and to support us in opposing SB 330. The work that we have done, we've made dramatic changes, and we need more time to continue the good work that we're doing. SB 330 will undo all of the changes that this board has made.
I have a question, whoever wants to answer it. This is nothing new. The state has been trying to do this for the last 20 years. Why do you think that they're trying to come back and try to do it now, after trying for so long?
I will answer this way. In 2015 or 2016, they restructured the board to a 9-member board. One appointed from Shelby County, one appointed from Blount County, one appointed by the Jefferson County Mayors Association, 4 appointed by the City of Birmingham City Council, 2 appointed by the mayor. In 16, they said they got it right. So why are we back here in 2025 trying to redo it again? As we said, this board is dealing with the issues we've had over the last 4 or 5 years, and we're doing a good job, dealing with our customer issues. There's never been any problem with water quality. There's never been any problem with, constructing and improving the system. The whole problem at that time was centered around customer billing, and really within 90 to 120 days, we addressed those issues. If you look in the news now, there's only a few issues in the news about billing. So I don't know why they're addressing it now, but they said they did it in 2016 and they got it right, but we're back here today.
I got a question from some of my listeners, and I just want to make sure that this happens. Is there any possible way Birmingham can just buy that? I just think that'll kill everything. If Birmingham, it says Birmingham Water Works, it don't say Blount County Water Works, it don't say Coleman Water Works. I just think it just needs to get back in the competent hands of the mayor and the city council. That way we won't have this issue. And to me, I think it would just kill Montgomery. Why can't that happen?
I'll say this, that's a tough question to answer because they tried that back in 1998, 99, 96, somewhere in there. Whatever happened to that transaction, it did not go through, and it ended up back in the hands of the Birmingham Water Works as a separate legal entity. and that's probably a complicated process to do that. That couldn't be done in a short period of time.
And let me add to that, you know, as the because it, from my perspective, the way that a utility will operate best is without politicians on it or elected people on it, myself included. The best thing about an independent board, a truly independent board, not something that is being proposed now where you can have elected officials appoint themselves or their friends, you know, no elected officials on there, because these board members have one job, and their one job is to serve the ratepayers and make sure that the hard decisions that a board has to make that would be very politically unpopular are made. I don't know if I want to see the Birmingham City Council determining the rates of the water works. And the reason why is there's too much political pressure. What are we going to do to the quality of the water to appease our voters and ratepayers? That is so important on having an independent board. Not only that, but then the board can also issue debt, refinance debt, and take on projects like the automated meters that they're doing, like the Lake Purdy Dam rehabilitation that this board has taken on. But sometimes you do not want political people in something that should be independent, because then you don't know what's this best for. Is this best for you to get reelected, right? Or is it best for the ratepayer or those that consume the water themselves? I know that I want myself and my family to drink the cleanest water, and for no elected official to determine what the standard is because they might be up for re-election.
I have a question. So it says here in this notice back before you vote packet that under this bill, the public is completely shut out from any opportunity to comment. Can y'all just explain further why that would be the case?
Sure, I'll go back to the question that was asked, why does Montgomery now want to take over this board? They have been trying to take over this board for over 30 years. It is the largest asset in Birmingham. It's about power. It's about controlling a $1 billion asset. And what Montgomery, what they're proposing, not only silencing representation from this board, it silences representation from the customer base that we serve. And they want to find a way to remove input from the largest customer base that we serve. And so what they have proposed is removing public comment from hearing. They don't want to hear from the public, just like they don't want to hear from the public on this bill. They don't want to hear from the public if they take over this board when it comes to rates. And what that lets you know is they're not concerned. They're not going to be concerned with making decisions that impact and affect you. And that is why it's important to oppose this bill.
I'm going to make a couple other comments in that one. You asked about the last bill they had, they specifically said in 2015, 2016, no elected official could serve on the board. They totally changed that now. Now they're saying that elected officials can be appointed to the board. So why they made that change, I don't know. But overall, the other thing they did when they changed the board in 2015, they limited the pay to $1,000 a month. Now they raised the pay to $2,000 a month. So a lot of things that they put in place in 2015, they're going back and changing totally different than what they said was part of the problems we had before. I do want to say this. We have behind us, in addition to the executive management team and some board of directors, we have our employee association. That the employee association came out and said they do have a vote of confidence in this management team and this board of directors. We might have had some issues before under a separate leadership team, but the employee association has strongly come out and say they fully support what we're trying to do here and how we're trying to improve the organization.
All right, at this time, if there aren't any other questions, we are going to get some B-roll with the employees outside in front of the building. So if you all want to follow us up there, we're going to head out there right now.
Okay.
I just want to tell you, just for
No,
me.
no, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Keep that up. I mean,
I don't know what to say other than what.
that resonates. Yeah, no, that resonates.